poggers?
What up, go for it? What up, Fat Man's Kitchen? Just finish posting up on the socials. Oh, we have so many rubrics to paint. I'm not looking forward to it, but we got to get through it. Rubrics, a couple of the HQs, Terminators. We got the new mission cards finally. Even though for the next tournament it doesn't really matter. The next tournament still uses the old mission cards for some reason. Is what it is. But yeah, we are almost done. The blue ones specifically. I'm gonna clear a spot that is best to hold. About right here. But how y'all doing? I think I figured out a good format for quickly getting through these paint jobs. It's using the big brush for the shoulders and then parts of the backpacks, and then only really hitting the more elaborate panels with the like this small single stroke mini brush. It's not super quick, but it works on the details I'm actually looking to hit. Nice. Seeing a lot of people in tournaments playing Grand Coven again, which is basically the updated index. Supposedly it does really good on overseas terrain layouts, just because 16-inch movement on Magnus, there's something weird about it where it's like it's solved. he has very easy ways to get to places that only have small angles of return fire. And the problem is, rules is written, he uses his ridiculous sized wings to get line of sight on stuff in that situation. So it feels a little cheap. I really don't plan on using him, though. I'm either going to use maybe Ahriman in the tank division or the Phalanx division if I'm going to use a named character. That's even, like, I really don't have any feeling of, like, oh, I have to use Magnus. And even if I do, honestly, I feel like I'd rather use the Magnus in the Grotmist attachment, because I feel like that weirdly is way better than it was before with +1 to wound on psychic. Lighting's usually not hard for recording projects, depending on the size of project. It's usually just a couple LED studio lights that aren't usually super expensive. You just got to be able to get specifically a couple of angles, and you're good. Well, if you get a camera that lets you like adjust the level of brightness it picks up, it's actually good to have a really bright light for stuff like this in that situation. Because if you're able to lower the ISO capture of a camera, it usually lets you speed up the frame rate. It smooths out the picture. Because the higher you have to put the ISO, usually the harder it is on the part of the camera that picks up video and pictures. I'm very torn, though, for this upcoming tournament. I'm still thinking, like, maybe I go Chaos Knights. The problem is I'm really starting to think that I need another Abominant. Which means I have to figure out if there's a store local to me that sells the old Abominants. Because the new box that has the Abominant in it also has the new one, the brand new, like, alternate type. That box is so expensive now. My local store has a Questoris for the old price. It's like 170 versus the new price, which is now like 230. Well, I just think 2 Abominants are good in the new rules. Low points cost, decent damage output, good survivability. There's enhancements in almost every single detachment that sound like they would be good in the Abominant's hands. The emphasis on battle shock is drastically improved because of him, since he gets, I think, like -2 to battle shock tests and can force one in every shooting phase, which means you have 2 units on the field that you can force a unit to take a battle shock test with at -2 every shooting phase to then get bonuses for the rest of the phase, which is like minuses to hit when they swing at you if you go into melee, pluses to wound rolls from you into them. Like, it's really good. Probably one of the better aspects. I mean, I could convert one from a Questoris. It would be easy-ish. But I already have one, and I like the gist of it. Like, the real benefit from buying the Abominant box is you get the specific back that works for Chaos Knights. That usually has, like, all the really cool functions, like crows and things that just attach to it. Thematically, it looks nice. And my first Abominant is just covered in vultures. That's, like, the whole point of it. And I think I could do the second one in the same fashion, but then make the vultures different colors to the current one that I have. That way I've just got 2 different Abominants with 2 different color-coded vultures. Just running down the middle of the field like psychic emanation vultures. But right now what I'm debating is 1 Abominant, 1 Tyrant. I'm really hoping the rumors of the Castigator class, like that next class up that comes from Horus Heresy, I'm really hoping they don't pull it out of 40k. I've seen one too many videos of people talking about it, and it's a little annoying to consider that they just gave us that type of model, and now they're going to take it away. It's like, oh, geez. I have zero intention of building a Horus Heresy army, and that model is one of the best looking knights I've converted. With so much stuff. The potential of them being like, we're not using it anymore, just, it hurts. It hurts my soul. So I really hope that's not the case. I'm just kind of wondering what I actually do for this tournament. I'm starting to feel really comfortable with Mutant Herd. But it is a lot to not only place on the field, but also to move around the field. I feel like I could build something out of the phalanx. Get some backline Zangors, maybe like 1 or 2 small squads. actually use some Terminators despite them not being all that good. Alternatively, I actually look into getting another tabletop stronghold box and just forego increasing any of the numbers of any of my stuff. That way I can just have another storage box for my Thousand Sons army. Oh yeah, pyramid scheme one could be cool. Just get a pyramid back on it. Maybe like a tyrant. Be expensive, but I think you could, at least if I was to do another one, I would put some money out for some of those the old world models, the undead Pharaoh old world models, and then maybe like a tyrant or a Questoris class, and just try to like combine those two things, because there's some elements from that like old world faction that just looks so good, like the Sphinx models they have access to with like the really big almost like it looks like the rubric striped layering functions, but it's like almost really big wings. You got the Pharaoh head thing you could probably apply to the knight instead of its actual knight head. It would be really cool. Just merge those two worlds. I could be that guy. I could try to make a dual tyrant army. It would be absolutely absurd. I wonder how oppressive that would be. Because that's two things on the field with a minus, with a 12-inch can't deep strike range. Which means if someone's fighting me and they have a lot of like deep strike or uppy downy, they have to decide to be like, no. I have to have everything on the field, because if I don't, and I'm not able to kill those tyrants in a timely fashion, he's just going to shut down all of my army's mobility. Because you could go the deployment, right? Or the detachment that utilizes the uppy downy for the tyrant, and then you just start on the field with 2 tyrants, and then turn 1. No matter what, you uppy downy the one, and you put it in as forward of a position as you can, with sole purpose of like going brawler mode, trying to survive. Put it in a spot where maybe not a lot of things can see it. And then, yeah, you just have an army of no uppy downy. It practically shuts down the Gene Stealer cult. Like, some of the greatest things of Ascension Day for Gene Stealer cult are immediately reduced by that. It's like, cool, you can bring units back. You can't put them anywhere within this 48-inch circle. Oh, nice. I've seen your stuff on the subreddit, too. Been posting on the subreddit. Specific reason for pink? I know some people have themed their kill teams around the Hello Kitty line, or some people just like pink, because pink is, as an Emperor's Children player, pink is decent. We had a person who used to come to the streams in the Discord who did a pink Tau army. And they bought a ton of those like Hello Kitty keychain things. Like the small Hello Kitty heads. And they would take their drones and they'd basically do the gun platform underneath the Hello Kitty head, so it looked like a Hello Kitty balloon with guns on the bottom of it. Just flying around the field. Pretty solid. Oh, you might love the Emperor's Children if you ever get your hands on them. Loud and different. That is full terminology for Emperor's Children. They have their own paint schemes that people are like, yeah, that's pretty grimdark, but like, I mean, I don't think you hand someone Emperor's Children and tell them to try to restrict themselves. Yeah, just paint them silver or something. You know, do something basic. Nah. Go loud or go home. Hell yeah. I mean, depends on how much styrofoam, fat mans. You trying to build a display board? I'm debating building a display board. Yeah, and there's ways of doing it that's kind of fun. I'm gonna go with Neko Fox. We'll just go with Neko. Maybe blue. I won't go with nothing. We'll go with Neko. There's ways of doing it that's kind of fun with like OSL lighting and like the bright impact colors. So for people who are like, oh, I want the character to look classic. I mean, you can do that. That's fine. But maybe they're dodging a magic missile that's like a prism of colors, and the colors are splashing everywhere, and it's like there's fun ways to kind of push the visual aesthetic envelope in a lot of these things, which is always cool. Not everything has to just be very basic grimdark. Oh, you're just giving him a styrofoam base? Okay. No, yeah, just simple hits. But I mean, we're in the realms of fantasy and magic. It can be so much more. So much crazier. Probably one of my favorite armies I've seen, just like as a decent grimdark army. It was a World Eaters army at a tournament that I was watching on Wargames Live, and the way the guy painted it, they themselves were like World Eaters, right? Like classic brass, red, World Eater. You know, bog standard. But then every single one of them was based on what very clearly looked like some kind of warp type stone. They're very much in this like alternate reality of the warp. And if you've ever seen sort of the running of the bulls or anything like that, like the different, I guess, celebrations around the world that involves people throwing bright colored pigments at each other, it was that all over the ground. It was like magentas and purples and reds and blues as bursts of mica powder, which if you've never used mica powder, is an extremely bright pigment. This is very bright. So the entirety of that World Eaters army just looked like, this is basic World Eaters, but it looked like they were sort of in the warp, and there were just explosions of just crazy colors. Like he would take like a little wad of it and just go bah, and just it would hit the foot and just explode in color. And he just went around doing that with different colors, and then just painted the outer ring black. It was really cool. A really fun paint scheme idea. Like grimdark with an edge. A little extra flair. To those who don't know, to those who are new to the stream, we are dual streaming. Over on the Twitch side, there is some music playing, because I do like to listen to music while I hobby. Over on the YouTube side, you shouldn't hear any music, because YouTube hates music playing. That's how I get all the emails that are like, yo, why you do this? So if you're down to chill with what we're listening to, you can always swing over to Twitch. you want to listen to your own music while just watching the stuff and listening, you can always go to YouTube. And chat is right here. So you should be able to see what you're all doing. So long as it doesn't freeze and go crazy. It is what it is. We tried listening to music on YouTube a couple times. I was listening to the music on YouTube's back end that they have set aside for people where it's like, yeah, this is free. You can just use it. You don't got to pay no one. Just, you know, you play it, listen to it, you're fine. And then I did that, and they were like, all right, we're yelling at you for doing it. It's cool. I'm never doing it again. Thank you, YouTube. What's up, bubonic plague? What kind of nurgling noises? I got my my plush nurgling just over there, across from me. It's keeping my plush squig company. As my plush purple son of Shyish looks on in horror. The other day when I was testing my mutant herd detachment at the store, right near the end, a father-daughter walked in to the store to check stuff out. Like, real young daughter. And they have the purple Son of Shyish plushie on the shelf, and they were just walking around looking at stuff. The moment they walked past that, she immediately picked it up and was like, I love it. It's like, hell yeah, purple sun. I think it's so cool. It's one of those fun notions of like, this is awesome. Just like a kid being like, this is great. Meanwhile, in the tabletop, it's this horrifying ball that just chases people down to kill them. Just love the dichotomy. Nice. Noticing I have a Steam message. It's 4:14. Did he record Newswave already? Ooh. I don't know. Looks like game night might be on with my friends. We're gonna try to finish Mice and Mystics. I think this one's done. No, I wasn't planning on grabbing one. I was kind of thinking of doing it, but kind of not. Because the problem is a lot of purchases are starting to line up in really bad ways. Like I said, I want to try to buy another Abominant box. That's $130 or $230 for one model. I'm debating that. I'm debating grabbing a Tyrant instead because that's weirdly cheaper. And trying to do a double Tyrant list, which I think would be psychotic. I don't really want to even assess doing that until I see the MFM. Because if I can match the MFM to a detachment that would double Tyrant, maybe I do it. Well, I mean, 2 Tyrants is too many, Curtis. Doesn't mean I won't try. Because who knows? Maybe there's something there. Maybe. With how many teams rely almost exclusively on uppy downy, maybe there's something to being like, nope, you can't downy within this range. And thank you. These rubrics, I finished painting them the first time around like a year ago. And then recently with the Combat Patrol box that dropped, we looked at it and it looked great. Specifically the Demon Prince, who had very flat, bright saturation blue as his armor plating, which, I mean, I looked at it and I was like, okay, I don't hate that. I kind of enjoy looking at it. And that thought made me go, oh, I'm going to go through all of my Thousand Suns again, and I'm going to work on layering all of their armor to be actually high pigment blue. Or high pigment of whatever the actual color is. Because we've got Burgundy, which is going to end up being a World Eater's Red as the flat pigment. I've got 60 rubrics. We have this. This will be, well, we have to get the green on. Once the blues are done, that's 20 done. There's basically 3 sets of 20 and 3 different color schemes. In a miracle, I feel like I made my rubrics to the right percentages because the guns now feel a lot better than the flamers in a lot of regard. And I have 2 full squads of flamers and then 4 full squads of bolters, which is already more than I probably need. The Battleclad were the AdMech, right? The new AdMech. You psychopath working on 80 berserkers. I mean, they did increase the large size squads of berserkers, so I fully understand. I don't know what color scheme I would do with the Battleclad. My friend did like silver armor, like silver mechanics, and purple cloaks for his AdMech that he built for Hunterclade. But I don't know if that works here. Because the Battleclad are mostly like servitors. So, like, the main thing you're looking at is you've got 2 guys in cloaks. The rest are in Sort of like jumpsuits with all the metallics. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't mind leaning into the decay concept for these. We hit them with a lot of brasses. We go mostly brass. I have the, what is it? It's the oxidization, nihilic oxide. We do that on a lot of their armor. And then we just have to pick cloth colors. We would definitely do the skin more plague-like. I mean, it's already corpse mode, but like if we can shade it like Poxwalker. So it just looks like it's really not holding up well over time. I love the idea of a robot with a tool hand and a tool attachment with a toolbox. That's great. Maybe I'd go purple robes. I don't know. It's either I either go full decay or I go like into maybe pristine mechanics. Like we do like platinums and like really bright white metallics. Or we could do like dark steel and all the clothing and fabric could be really light color. Off stream, I did a bunch of wet on wet blending. I think I moved. Nope, there they are. We re-wet on wet blended this guy's cape. Very hard to see in the current brightness of the camera. But we basically took light phthalo green and we took it all the way up to white in a wet on wet fashion. Probably do that for the cloaks. And then do just like a black steel. Probably gonna have to do more wet on wet blending with capes. I'm trying to redo most of the capes. We already redid the loincloths for the rubrics, as well as the cape for the psyker. I think we're gonna have to do it with the purple ones next. They do blue cloaks, I want to say. Yeah, these are blue, so we're gonna have to do a blue to something. I've got enough dark color blues. We could just go blue to bright blue, and that's fine. Like cerulean hue or something. You don't want to give your model weaky feet? You You could make regular feet and just post it up on the wiki feet and try to get a wiki feet ranking. All right, arms and hands, and then one more, and then we do the green, and then the blue squad is done. The use of blue is not done. We've got so many Terminators to get through with this color blue. I think of all the boxes that have come out in a while, Typhon's probably the only one that I was really interested in getting. If it wasn't around the same time as the Chaos Knights Codex dropping and the possibility that I might buy another Large Knight, I might have gotten it. But the fact that it sold out in the US in quite literally 1 minute, which pretty sure Scalper's involved in that because everyone was waiting for the Ravener relaunch. I mean, it doesn't help that Games Workshop just dropped a detachment that is flawless for taking Raveners. For them to immediately be like, oh, also, Ravener kill team. Relaunch of the Ravener models. It's like, you fools. I guarantee you didn't make enough. What do you mean the names? Are you talking about in the how to build book? I do try to plan out who I'm building a little bit because sometimes teams are weird. The Aquilans have like a pistolier, but the pistolier requires the leader's pistols. Like a lot of people would prefer to build the leader that has, I think, the power weapon. Which the only way you can take the power weapon is by taking the pistol, like the auto pistol. But there's only one auto pistol for that hand in the entire box. And if you want to take the pistolier, you need it. So you have to kind of look into that stuff and be like, all right, how do we deal with this? So like you definitely need a plan. The way a lot of people got around the pistolier problem was they would take a las gun and they would just stub it because you can kind of cut the barrel off and then cut the front of the barrel off and then attach the front of the barrel to the main body, and it just looks like an auto pistol or whatever, or a las pistol or whatever you needed. So like that was a cool way to get around that. But sometimes you do need to look to be like, oh, if I don't build the kin link here, I'm not going to get a kin link. I've only got the parts for one kin link. Oh no. How do I deal with this? But in that regard, not all kits are equal. Sometimes you'll find kits where the bodies don't really require like specific types of things. Like there's no requirement for specific like upper and lower bodies in order to achieve the specialist you want. Like the bodies are just the bodies, and then the specialist is just like a pair of arms, maybe a head. And you can apply that to whoever you want. So even if it's like use this body, if you look at your overall models and you go, I think this body looks a lot better for that. Sometimes you can do that, not always. That's why it's good to have a plan going in. I feel like the camera keeps slightly moving. Let me try to do something for you guys. There you go. The issue with Legionary and Kill Team is there's a lot of... everyone's technically a specialist outside of the Warrior, right? The most basic unit you have is a Warrior with a bolt gun or a Warrior with a bolt pistol and chainsword. Those are pretty much your only non-specialists in that list. It's difficult to build a Legionary Kill Team to completion with only one box of Legionary. Because you do want access to all of your gunner options, your heavy and your light. So you want your plasma, you want your melta, you want your flamer, you want your heavy bolter, you want your rocket launcher, and your chain cannon. Because there's rationale to run any of those in specific maps. Like if I wanted to play more forward in a Gallo Dark map, I might not even take a heavy weapon. It's just very important. The key characters, like probably the key specialist characters would be the Shreve Talon and the Butcher, the Anointed, and I want to say the Chosen. Because among my Legionary list, I actually have like 4 aspiring champions. It's like 3 or 4 aspiring champions. Because depending on who my opponent is, I actually like any of them for specific reasons. Like if I'm going into a serious melee specialist, like a lethal army, I might take the chainsword one. The one that has the chainsword with the parry hook. Because parry hook chainsword is so stupidly good. Really helpful defensively. Now, if my opponent attacks enough times and has lethal, then I'll probably just stick with like a power weapon of some kind. try to just beat them. If you're trying to one box your team, though, there's some good options. I feel like on average, you're probably going to want an icon bear, and you're probably going to want him to be the bolter variant, because I think that's the guy you usually sit on your back objective. Because I think he gets the advantage to your team, or whatever advantage he provides, he gives to your team if he's in no man's zone. And you don't want to put him in a position where he could die easily. So it's kind of good to have like the bolter variant of that if you're going to do it at all. Because you get what? You get like 10 Legionary in a box. You can only run 6. So I think with the single box, my plan was Aspiring, the bolt gun icon. What else? Definitely the Butcher. Definitely the Anointed. Definitely the Shreve, because those are pretty much the specialists you only need one of, leaving you 5 options. You definitely want a Heavy Bolter, because that's where the double shoot bolter comes from, and that is probably the most output damage you can have from a single ranged unit. Plasma is really good. Melta is really good. Oh, the Sorcerer. I keep forgetting about the Sorcerer. You do want the Sorcerer. Leaving one spot open. That's where the struggle comes in. Because you have an Aspiring. You don't often want to use the Chosen, so people stay away from him. It might just be worth getting a Flamethrower guy, because if you're going to do close range stuff in the Gallow Dark, the Flamethrower suddenly becomes drastically better. Okay. So you have a Chosen. Honestly, if you run the Chosen, because the Chosen's just a specific sword and usually a plasma pistol. If you just go, hey, this is an aspiring champion with a power sword and plasma, I think that's fine if that's a combo he can take. Because the aspiring, when it comes to like scoring, is way better because of the whole he kills something, he gets a free action situation. It just makes him drastically better than the Chosen for action economy. Legionary. Operative selection. Power Fist. Yeah. So it's just take one. So Plasma Pistol and Power Weapon. And you're good. So you could run your Chosen as either. And that's fine. No problem there. Oh, have you not looked at... Did you not look at the Legionary character selection? Chosen... A Chosen is a Demon Blade. Chosen can get a Plasma Pistol, Demon Blade, or Tainted Bolt Pistol in a Demon Blade. 9 times out of 10, you go Plasma Pistol. Aspiring gets a choice of Plasma or Tainted Bolt Pistol, and then you can either go Power Fist, Power Maul, Power Weapon, or Tainted Chainsword. And that's just in the app, letting you know what he can take. Most people will take plasma because there's almost like the only thing you get from the bolt pistol really is double shoot. Which, like, sure, I guess. Like, if I'm fighting, I don't know, Vet Guard, I could see a tainted bolt pistol being okay. But outside of that, I'd rather just go plasma. Lose the double shoot potential and just go for double melee as much as possible. Or do what you should actually be doing, which is charging, meleeing for the kill, shooting for the kill after the fact. And because you killed someone, go from 3 AP to 3 AP plus a free action. And then maybe perform like a dash or a mission action or something. Although I don't think you can dash and charge, so at that point you're just doing a mission action. Maybe that's cool enough. Alright, did I get all of this guy's blue done? Does that mean all my blue squad is done for the armor plate colors? Now we just gotta do the greens? And then squad complete? That's super fun. Yeah, I'll play you. Oh, I gotta leave. Well, do you have the app? Do you have the app to be able, or at least did you go to the Warhammer community download page to see what you can put on units? How far in did you get for any of this? I can walk you through how the team gets built. If you haven't already seen it. I don't mind doing that. That's what I'm here for. Hiya. So this is the Warhammer community page if you haven't been to it yet. Usually gives you like fun news, tells you all the cool stuff coming out. Up here is a very important tab, downloads. Kill team. Team roles. You are legionary. This downloads as a PDF. If you have the KT app, you can do it there too. But this is the page that matters to you for how you're going to build your characters. So you can see here, you have to take one leader, aspiring champion or a chosen. And then it tells you what the loadouts can be, plasma or tainted, and then power fist or power maul or power weapon. Take one of each, and then chosen, same deal, is either going to be plasma pistol demon or tainted bolt pistol demon. Like I said, you can go the Demon Blade with a Plasma Pistol here, and then if you ever want to just be like, I want to run an Aspiring this round, you now have a Plasma Pistol and a Power Weapon. Congratulations! Oh yeah, the Vespid Cookbook. And then down here you'll see, you get your Anointed, your Balefire, Butcher. Icon Bearer can either be Bolt Gun or Bolt Pistol with Chainsword. Personally, I'm thinking I lean into Bolt Gun because I think he's supposed to sit back. You can check the abilities if you so desire. Did they update these to cards or are these still the full? No, these are still full. Icon Bearer. So he does APL stat increase in the ready step of each strategy phase. This operative controls an objective marker that isn't tainted. That objective marker is tainted, and you gain 1 CP. If any operative, including enemy operative, is tainted the objective marker, you cannot taint that objective marker. This is different than what I remember it being. So you kind of want him to move around. Maybe chainsword bolt pistol isn't a bad idea. Maybe. This guy might be a good frontliner if you're going to do a heavy bolter like this guy you put behind him. He can hold the back line or something, and then you just have that chainsword pistol wielding icon bearer running around tainting stuff for extra command points. But yeah, you can do that. Shrieve Talon, that's basic warrior, bolt gun, or bolt pistols. Probably this. If you ever go warrior, you might not need to. Gunners, you got your variants. Heavy gunners, you got your variants. I wonder what the warrior does, because they've tried to make warriors interesting. Once per battle, when a friendly legionary warrior operative is activated, you can use this role. If you do, operative... Oh, yeah. Change your mark of chaos keyword. That's pretty good, honestly. The ability to adapt from like being really good defensively to suddenly being really good in melee. It's pretty good. It's once per battle you can change his rule. You could even just go Slanesh mark, which I think is what? +1 to move? How did they change this? I got to do an overview video for the rest of the Season 1 teams. I got to start scripting that. We're just going to do all the teams that I haven't talked about in one go. Chapter by chapter. We're going to go over a couple basic concepts. Yeah. You could go literally from, hey, I'm super durable, to all of a sudden being like, I got to go 7 inches. That's pretty good, actually, for a warrior. Not bad. Let me go get a beverage. Also, something you need to think about as a new player, this might be dumped on you a little bit. Let me if you're not a competitive player, this won't really matter that much. If your local area is like, there's not a lot of competition, it's just casual games and just fun playing, don't need to worry about this. But the Legionary were a Season 1 team and kill team for the reboot. That means they have until, as far as we know, September. And then they're going to be cycled out of competitive. This doesn't mean the rules are going to vanish. This just means if you're planning on going to tournaments, you cannot take this team to a GW specific, or if the tournament says they're following the ban lists and stuff, you won't be able to take it to those tournaments. If a tournament shows up near you and it's like, yeah, we don't care, bring whatever you got, then it's fine. It doesn't matter. These guys are supposedly going to be getting updated information over time. So even though they will technically be like kind of done in terms of competition, they should get updates and balances that aren't as maybe major as you would expect. However, because you are playing Legionary, you get something fun, which is the ability to go, hey, I have a lot of stuff that looks like... Where are they? Is there a picture of them? Please be a picture. Please have a picture somewhere. I have a lot of stuff that looks like these guys. Hey, there's a plasma gun. This is an icon bearer with a chainsword and bolt pistol. That kind of looks like a butcher. This kind of looks like a Shrieve Talon. this could be like an anointed or something along those lines. And hey, they have a missile launcher. This could be like a balefire guy, and they definitely have an aspiring champion with a plasma pistol and possible other weapon choices outside of the chainsword they're showing him with. Plasma pistol, chain blade. Yeah, you can just call it a chain blade. Screw it. Doesn't matter. So this is a Season 3 team. So this team will last for a while, which means you could easily just be like, all right, I'm just going to run my rules as these guys instead. If you plan on being competitive, if you plan on going to competition. So you're not like stuck. So just keep that in mind as you go forward. Playing Legionary isn't the worst because you could just rotate into these rules fairly easily with the models you'll have access to. And go forward from there. Just something to think about. Again, to reiterate, if your local community does not care about competition, if they do not care about the competitive scene, seasonal, removal of teams from that type of tournament play, then don't care about it. You won't have to care. You can just be like, whatever. Green stuff. So, well, not green stuff, but green paint. Fluorescent yellow to start. It's something other teams from Season 1 has to think about. Like, Deathcore can't really go anywhere too much. The Commandos can't really do as much either. Warp Coven can play around a little bit. Maybe end up being, like, Nightmare or something. They could do... Warp Coven can maybe do something. Probably not, though, for the most part. In any big, meaningful way. Who else was Season 1? Pathfinder's basically screwed. Novitiate's pretty much screwed. I get why they're doing it. There is reason to try to assess the balance, because going forward, if you've got like hundreds of different teams, it's going to be near impossible to really balance that. Personally, I think being able to run tournaments that involve multiple terrain styles with multiple rules within those terrain styles could sort out weird imbalances between some of the teams and sort of even the playing field, making it harder to go like undefeated for an entire tournament. But that's just my opinion. Even though I do agree Beta Decima is not the best terrain, I honestly think Beta Decima was the great equalizer for a lot of teams. So many teams get like weirdly screwed over by Beta Decima that are very good at every other map. But unanimously across the board, everyone was just like, let's never do Beta Decima. Gellerpox, Starstriders, yeah, those are also going to get knocked, which sucks. Gellerpox is... Gellerpox is so flavorful, man. I really wish Gellerpox was still going to stick around. Phobos, too. That's also a sad one for me. I put a lot of time and effort into my Phobos team. I've got the most random Phobos models. I actually made I made the what is it? The Reavers with bolt carbines. I built those. I don't think there's a human being in the world who thinks a Reaver with a bolt carbine is a good idea. I have like 3 of them. Just because I had extra bodies at that point, and I was like, yo, maybe one day I'll run 3 bolt carbine Reavers. They'll be hypermobile, just jumping from place to place. It'll be awesome. And that day never came. Oh yeah. So the Typhon box is just an expansion for narrative of Hivestorm. That's kind of how it just works now. Is you have one map type. I think this is how they did it after season 1. They give you a new map type, which is the Hivestorm, which is incredible as a map. And honestly, I really, really wish they would have adapted the Hivestorm map to 40k. Because it feels better than what we're experiencing now, in my opinion. In 40k. Because 40k is that very stagnant, like, L-shaped grid wall stuff. But imagine current tournament play in 40k needing you to purchase, like, 4 Hivestorm box things. Like, if you had to buy 4 boxes of Hivestorm to create cityscapes that have been bombed out and ruined to have to fight in 40k. I think that would have been so much cooler than what we've got going now. Which just feels a bit too stagnant for me. I mean, I'm playing it. I might as well. That's how my local scene is at this point, is bulk 40k. But like, man, the maps really bore the hell out of me. It'd be so much cooler if we were just like rushing around through buildings. The gaps in the streets would be big enough for like knights and tanks to move down, and that's fine. But there'd still be just big pockets on the map that's just like, this is only for infantry. Those buildings, if you put a squad in that building, it's not easy. Like, if it's a small enough squad, a big knight won't be able to get into melee with them. It's actually like a fully safe situation for small infantry squads to just be like hiding in a small pocket in the building. The knight basically has to run over and shoot into the building. Which, I mean, I think is cool. Very flavorful in a way. I love that my Flamer squad has an Icon of Flame, even though it doesn't really need it. Does the Icon of Flame do anything else other than provide no benefit of cover, which is absolutely unnecessary in a Flamethrower squad? Maybe it provides an extra something. It's got to provide something else. I haven't even looked at it in a while because I wasn't planning on playing Phalanx, so I didn't really care. Thousand Suns, data sheets. Yeah, just ignore cover. Man, can't wait to ignore cover with flamers with my Icon of Flame. Even though it's already built in. It's built in, right? Like, it's... I swear to God if it actually says it on the list. Because it has to say it, right? Oh, it makes me sad. Double ignore cover. I'd be okay with it if it was like, oh, you ignore cover and you get like one extra OC from this one model. I'd be like, all right, cool. That's fine. I'll take it. Part of me wanted to drive to the store that's like 45 minutes from here, or a half hour from here, depending on time of day that you drive. Because if they had an Abominant box, I was going to just hard purchase it. Because I don't think I need the Ruinator. Honestly, the more I look at the Ruinator, I get it. I kind of get what he's there for. But it doesn't fit, I think, what I'm looking to do in the game for like scoring points and stuff. I mean, I've got cultist proxies. Well, not cultist proxies. I've got cultists. I play cultists. Even now, with people being like, cultists aren't good anymore, I still play them once in a while. And I win with them. Because cultists are obnoxious. Just the sheer quantity of bodies they have access to do crazy things. I'm actually wondering when the cultists are, because everything else on the list of the balance was like 2 years or more, right? Cultists came out between Season 2 and Season 3. So they're either part of Season 2 and will be a 2-year team from the start of this new edition, or they're going to be considered part of Season 3 and then be a 3-year team. Either way, I'm already playing Mandrakes, which is the 3-year team. Mandrake's so good. Yeah, you can make modes in Kill Team. I mean, if you're playing fun stuff with friends, of course, locally. NPO missions are pretty good, and they're expanding the quality of NPO missions a bit. But there's a lot of leniency, I think, in the rules for Kill Team. we've been saying for a while now, it could be really cool to fuse the rules of Kill Team with like other concepts. Games Workshop has a tabletop TTRPG, tabletop, which is just tabletop RPG. And that tabletop RPG has, you know, just general information in it for simple battles, performing actions, blah, blah, blah. And I've always postulated that if you could merge those rules with the rules of Kill Team and figure out how to translate it properly back and forth, the one thing that I think D&D has with the whole, like, you can play the TTRPG, and then there is the ability to put models on the table to represent the fight that's going on. I think there's just incredible value there to do that with 40K, because that was kind of a big thing with D&D. Is they started as books. People started occasionally picking up interesting models that represented things to show. But it always started with books and then moved into miniatures. And I feel like the miniature side of D&D is huge. The sheer quantity of models, the speed at which I see local stores selling those models, it seems impressive. And you could almost as easily have the same concept with a tabletop 40K RPG. Where maybe you've got a really fun campaign going where, you know, you're going to be fighting some rubric marines, maybe some Zangors, maybe occasionally some demons, and then like a couple big sorcerers or something. Yeah, you buy yourself some Thousand Suns, get them painted up, or maybe don't. If you don't have the time to paint them up, it's fine. Everyone has their character models for their squads. You just go. It could be really cool. Just like with D&D, insignificant fights could just be theater of the mind. But for like big set piece fights, your DM could actually design where the fight's going to occur. Actually put terrain on the table. Yeah, your team could be like a Death Watch squad going into like Nids or something. Maybe play some Inquisitors going into some Chaos Cult things. Dealing with like a Xenos type smuggling ring or something. Because the wider storytelling elements of 40K are awesome. I feel like a lot of what people have access to easily and what people tend to lean into in terms of storytelling is very much a flat facing 40K system. Like the people who know it through things like Space Marine and stuff, where it's very much just like enemy aliens bad, shoot enemy aliens. Occasionally listen to cool speech. It's like that's part of it, sure. But I would put forward that if you played a game like Rogue Trader, you might get a lot more information from the universe. Because there's so much. Like, did you know there's people who smuggle Xenos tech into human areas? Did you know that within hive cities there's people who might not exactly be human living? Do you know how the cults grow in, like, not only hive cities, but the giant Gothic ships? These are all cool storylines and concepts, because, like, a Gothic ship is big enough that it would be almost endless feeling to be in a Gothic ship as a squad of, like, RBDs trying to suss out an enemy incursion. Or even finding on the ship, like, there's the whole story of Conrad Kurz, being on a ship with the Lion. And he was on the ship the whole time, and the Lion was looking for him the whole time and couldn't find him on one ship. So, like, there's an element of it of, like, you could do so much with that world, man. And Rogue Trader did some great things. They introduced you to the navigators. I didn't know a lot about navigators in the 40K universe. I didn't know what that whole thing was. The whole houses of, like, hyper psychic beings who are able to sense the Emperor from, like, great distances, and that's how they know where they are in the warp. Yeah, but that's the thing. You could do that in the tabletop 40K stuff. I mean, there's no reason you don't have to grid it. It's because it's the same deal. And then the bases are similar to how the models are in D&D, where if it's a really big base, it's just a thing that takes up a lot of grid. Like, imagine putting a knight on a grid surface. Take up, like, 8 grid squares. Blue Squad. Done. Because it's the game mode is called Wrath and Glory, which I think is a really cool concept. There's elements within Wrath and Glory of, like, rolling dice and having access to big moments of, like, heroic kind of power. And there's already all these things that are in place, right? Like, Kill Team has stratagems. You can generate command points in ways. Blue Team, down. This is where I introduce you all to Burgundy Team. Burgundy Team was a very fun attempt at creating rubric Marines who are sort of, like, wholesale ghosting it. So Burgundy Team was just glowing pink skulls. Which is fine, but we got to redo the colors on these capes. I remember the reason I did this was because I put them together and then I took the standard Rubric Marine loincloths off of them. Like, I usually did these separate. I always painted the loincloths separate and then glued them on after because I wanted them to be different colors. I remember I went to my buddy's house. I thought I brought them with me, and I couldn't find them, so I just didn't paint them. And then I went home and I couldn't find them, and I had no idea where I put them. Like, absolutely no idea. Alright, so we're going to go light, which is why they are all green stuff. This is where we do wet on wet blend. So try to pile drive through this. Probably never going to need this many rubric marines ever. But maybe. Because I might have to run like 5 or 6 MSU squads for something, at which point it's like, that's fine. Because I think that's still the play. Games or Warhammer 40k is still a game of like needing to be places to do stuff. Leaning into just like a few small or like a few squads that are just way too big isn't really a good play. It's not a good way to deal with stuff. But having a ton of small squads, maximizing your points to just be able to go where you need to go. It's kind of more the ideal. not looking forward to doing this with Ahriman's robes. We still have to rebase 4 sorcerers. Might think of doing that soon. I've been assessing the last couple tournaments and games that I've been playing and testing in. And I find that one of my key issues right now is that I go for what I consider to be priority threat targets. I've started to notice that the opponents I go against that feel devastatingly good into me, they'll usually go for my squads that are meant to score. Right? They'll go for the things that I have on the field that are meant to be in a position to do like cleanses and stuff. They try to tear down my ability to gain points while out positioning the things that are used to, you know, destroy their key targets. I think I need to really start focusing on that a little bit more. I had a really, really, really good game into one of the Necron players locally, who's like one of the top in the country, let alone the world. Although he doesn't do international tournaments, doesn't have the time. And the more I think about it, he wasn't focused on killing my Desecrator. He wasn't focused on killing my Castigator. He pretty much methodically killed all of my War Dogs over the course of like 3 turns, while positioning himself to score points on top of it. And had I killed his point scoring units, rather than like hyper focusing on trying to kill his monolith, I think it would have ended up being a lot better. And I just fought a NIDS player on Friday. And I put a ton of time and effort into killing his his heavy anti-tank characters. But had I killed all of his Gaunts and a few of his like frontline large units, which weren't nearly as tanky as his big anti-tank ranged units from the back, I do feel like I could have had a much easier chance at defeating him. Our scores were both really high because neither of us were really focusing on that. My Zangors were pretty much alive the whole game. His whole purpose was also to try to outposition my Predator and my Mutalisks and my Forge Fiends to try to like bring those down. But had I popped out and killed his Swarm Lord, like my original idea was maybe I killed the Swarm Lord first because he had his Swarm Lord pretty far up. So in my head I was like, I could just mark this Swarm Lord and just end it with my Predator. No problem. His Tervigons or whatever the big ranged anti-tank guys were, I could just not see them and then kill all of his frontline scoring monsters and small squads, and then what does he have left? He can walk around with those guys and try to take out my tanks all he wants. I'm just going to outscore him at that point, and he doesn't have scoring models. And I feel like in the games where I accidentally kill all the scoring models in the first couple turns, those are the games I do really well in. And it's so weird to be like, I accidentally did good this time. So I'm hoping I can just latch onto that. Kill scoring units. Outmaneuver the things I'm worried about. Just go from there. There were some seriously disappointing moments, though, in that Tyranid game. I tossed 2 Chaos Spawn into a squad of Gaunts. Like, ranged Gaunts, not melee Gaunts. And then I had, like, the roll of my life, okay? Thousand Sun's Chaos Spawns are 2 models in a squad, D6 plus 2 attacks. So you already got completely random attacks. Which, that's a little out there. I rolled a 5 and a 6. So, like, right off the top end, I was, like, almost maximum swings into a small squad of Gaunts. Which, that's cool. The problem is that they hit on 4s, so I'm already 50-50, right? Like, you're already swinging 50-50 without rerolls or anything, and that kind of sucks. But then, I rolled all the dice and only dropped 1 to a miss. Huge, because those are strength 5, and into Gaunts, you're wounded on 3s, you have enough AP that they can't roll a save, and then you just kill 1 for everything you roll above a 3. I then proceeded to roll an entire huge amount of dice. And all but 1 dice was 2 or below. Could have wiped a squad. Instead, I was meant to feel profound sadness. There are actually 2 moments in that game where I kind of super committed to something and never completed it. Like, the first anti-tank monster that he had, I put so much damage into it, and I had to put, like, 2 more units into it than I was expecting. And then the next one I almost killed in the turn as well, but I left it on, I think, 1 wound. For literally 2 rounds, I left it on 1 wound. Super obnoxious. Once I get the cloaks done, I might call it. It was going to be a short stream today, if anything, because I do got to get a little bit of work done tonight. It's good that I got the blue ones done. I got to varnish some of the stuff I already have, so I can get ready to varnish the blue ones in a little bit. Three more after this, and we'll call it. Just slowly getting through them. Wet on wet cloak work. Fairly simple, fairly easy. We're going to have to do a lot of the blue with the upcoming ones. We can do that later. Oh, I got so much to do. There's a chance off stream we will pull these guys off of their bases because they do need to be enhanced to this size. I know you could just do this and call it a day. But I don't know. I never liked this. This always felt stupid. I could just as easily razor blade him off on the back, glue him back down to here, and then just redo the texture paste without much of an issue. Because apparently I need to put sorcerers on 40s. We'll figure that out. So we got 3 of those to do. But yeah, until next time, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Hopefully chat didn't crash for Twitch and I just missed a ton of people's interactions. Nope, we're good. Till next time.